everyone. So the Lakers got a good old-fashioned behind the barn just whooping. I mean, this was embarrassing, to say the least. Philly ended up winning 138-94. Lakers didn't even crack 100. The Lakers gave up 138 points. I mean, that's just inexcusable. Now, look, Philly shot insanely well. Shot the lights out, historically great. That seems to kind of be a trend against the Lakers. And look, I understand the whole, hey, Lakers are missing 3 of their 4 best perimeter defenders, all that stuff, right? This is one of those games that usually a team can just chalk up and just say, you know what? It was a bad night, right? Sucked, move on to the next one, right? Especially coming off of a game in which the Lakers looked legit against the Cleveland Cavaliers. On the road, right? Collective team win. Things were blowing. Guys were sharing the basketball. Things looked good. Lakers lockdown focus, got the defensive end done when they needed to. Started off the game poorly defensively, but really picked it up in that second half. This game, I mean, start to finish, Philly just ran through us entirely, to put it nicely. Yeah, that's the only way to explain 138 points given up. And like I mentioned, most scenarios, most cases, for most teams, a game like this, you just say, hey, it was a bad game, sucks, move on. Problem is, the Lakers haven't been most teams this year. This is more of a trend than it is an outlier. If this was an outlier, I would have made this video, I would have came on here and I would say, hey, look, it happens. Don't worry about it. No big deal. But I can't say that because, again, the Lakers seem to love to go down 20 plus points and then try to dig themselves out of a hole. We've seen that more times than not this year. And it's incredibly frustrating. The Lakers as a team they don't have it on a consistent, regular basis. And I do think the injuries and stuff are part of the issue, but it's not the entire issue, right? This is a team problem top to bottom, right? I know many people want to blame it all on the coach. It's not all on the coach. Coaching is part of it, right? Darvin Ham definitely has a part to play in this, but this is also on the players. The lack of effort, the lack of energy. LeBron out 0 rebounds, first time since 2010, something like that. Like, this is not the performance that we can count on, or we can count on it with the Lakers, but we shouldn't have to count on it with the Lakers. This should have been an outlier game rather than the norm. This should have been a random game that just was a fluke rather than like, hey, seems to be a regular occurrence for the Lakers. We just don't have anybody that can be consistent, and we don't have enough guys hitting shots. The thing is we have guys that are capable of it, right? Like Prince should be hitting shots. D'Lo should be hitting shots. Reeves should be hitting shots. These guys are, 40% three-point shooters and can't buy a bucket. Now, I will say with Prince, briefly, he was 3 of 6 and he hit all 3 of them in the third quarter. So I'm hoping, and this is a big hope, big hope, right? I'm hoping that this is the beginning of Prince starting to knock down some open shots because we need it badly. If Prince can find his rhythm, start hitting some shots, start knocking down threes consistently, I'm not saying he has to shoot 50% a game, but if he can get back from this moment on around 38 to 40%, that'd be so massive, right? Because, again, shooting is contagious. I've talked about this countless times, right? That why does one team just shoot the lights out and every player seems to shoot the lights out? Pat Bev, Marcus Morris, Batum, Covington, Maxey, even Embiid got in on some of the three-point action, right? Why does it seem like a team just can't miss? And it's because, again, it's contagious, right? The one game where the Lakers hit like 23s or whatever, everybody was firing. Because when guys are hitting shots, it opens it up for everyone else. So we can get a guy like Taurean Prince, who is supposed to be one of our more consistent three-point shooters. If we can get him to come in and knock it down, well, then that just will help and improve the Lakers in so many ways. Because now maybe, one, that would open stuff up more, but 2, it might get other guys to hit shots also. Touching on the injuries, right? Again, injuries are part of the problem. You're missing 3 of your 4 best perimeter defenders. You're missing your two best perimeter defenders in Cam Reddish and Jared Vanderbilt. Right? They're two guys that when we get both of them back, the Lakers are going to jump up defensively. Now, obviously, if the Sixers shot the way that they shot this game, even with Cam Reddish and Jared Vanderbilt, we're still getting smacked. We're still getting beat. But you can make an argument, would they have shot that well if you had Cam Reddish and Jared Vanderbilt? Because you'd have Cam Reddish and Jared Vanderbilt just prowling the exterior and just defending out on the perimeter and contesting shots and using their size and their length, trapping Maxey, making things difficult for him, right? It may have been a different game. Again, if they continue to shoot like that, then it's not. But game in and game out is where we desperately miss Jared Vanderbilt, where we desperately miss Cam Reddish. And, so many people are like, well, Jared Vanderbilt doesn't solve everything, and he doesn't help on the offensive side. Well, one of those are correct. So he doesn't solve everything, 100%, agree with you. But he solves a lot, and he is extremely impactful, as we saw last year. Lakers went from middle of the pack defensively, number one defense in the league, as soon as we added Jared Vanderbilt. Lakers right now are 11th. You don't think Jared Vanderbilt would at least put him in the top, 5? Of course he will. And then you add in Cam Reddish, you get back Gabe Vincent, all of a sudden this could be a good defensive team. But on the offensive side, which is the part where I think many people get wrong, is he absolutely does help. Now, we don't know if he'll knock down a consistent three or not, but he helps in other ways offensively. Getting the defense a rebound will lead to less second chance opportunities for the opposing team, which will lead to more opportunities on the offensive side for us, which leads to more scoring, right? Him getting deflections and steals and transition leads to more opportunities for the Lakers, which leads to more baskets for the Lakers. Jared Vanderbilt absolutely helps on the offense side, as we see with Cam Reddish. So yes, these guys would impact the offensive side, and then whatever scoring and shooting that they have, it would just be an added bonus. Which is why I fully believe when these two come back and are healthy, they need to be in the starting lineup. Desperately. You need to have starting five, as of right now, of D'Lo, Reddish, Vando, LeBron, and AD. But, Tyler, Vando and Reddish can't shoot threes. Nobody can, so who cares? You're going to have to pick a lane. Nobody can knock down the three ball right now. So, not only can we not shoot shots, we also can't defend. So you got to pick one of those. Unless everybody just magically starts hitting shots, which we have now, an 18-game sample size or whatever that shows that we can't, lean into the defensive side. Because at least that'll keep you in the games. At least that will keep you competitive early on, and then you make the adjustments accordingly. And then as we've seen in the second half, the Lakers start picking it up on the offensive side better. Right? And you see in the third and fourth quarter. But if you can have Reddish and Vanderbilt keep the game within reason, then now when we do take those strides, now all of a sudden we're not taking a 20-point lead. Lead into it defensively. Because then what that also does is that puts everybody else in their proper position. Because now Jared Vanderbilt's going to defend the best player on the other team, which means it won't be Cam Reddish or Max Christie or whomever, right? And now D'Lo won't have to defend the second best player on the other team. So now you have Jared Vanderbilt on the best player. Now you have Cam Reddish on the second best player. Now D'Lo gets to defend the third best player, and so on and so forth. So it makes everybody better defensively, which can lead to transitions. You get more size, more athleticism out on the perimeter. I would lean into that full-fledged, full-hearted. That's my thoughts. But because this team we don't have anybody that is consistent on a regular basis outside of LeBron James. And Anthony Davis, for the most part, has been consistent. He's had like 3 or 4 bad games, 3.5 bad games this season. So he's been a lot more consistent than otherwise. The Lakers just love to seem to get into these stretches where they just completely forget he's out there on the offensive side, and it's extremely frustrating. Got to do a better job of getting him the basketball. I know a lot of people want to blame AD, and AD is, to an extent, part of the problem, right? Needs to be more assertive, more demanding, get out there, scream and yell for the basketball, but he's not a perimeter guy. He's not a guy that is able to bring the ball up on the inbound or whatever, right? Like, we have to get him the basketball. We have to set him up. But guys aren't doing that consistently. We were and look, I think AD could have had 40 in this game, and I don't think it would have made a difference, but it's about developing the habits. It's about developing the good habits. Lakers are developing a lot of really bad habits, and it's frustrating. I think this team has the potential to be terrifying. I've talked about it. I think this team has the potential to be very good. I think this team has the potential to win an NBA championship. They're not that right now. They're not an NBA contender right now. They're a fringe playoff team at best the way that they're playing right now. Now, I do think that there's an argument once they get to the playoffs, things change, right? You have guys like Gabe Vincent, Rui Hachimura, obviously LeBron James in the playoffs, especially if he's healthy, Anthony Davis in the playoffs if he's healthy, right? You have guys, Taurean Prince has stepped up in the playoffs before. You have guys that elevate when you get to the playoffs. So I do think that there's an argument to be made of like, this team is better built for the playoffs and could still do something in the playoffs as poorly as they've played. But you got to start developing those good habits. Got to start putting yourself in better positions. The Lakers have just been atrocious on some of these games. Absolutely embarrassing. Again, this wasn't an outlier. This wasn't some random, oh man, this was just a rough game. No, this has been a common occurrence for the Lakers. And that's where my frustration really lies. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it, so let me know down in the comments below.